Joining us now to elaborate on those figures from the USDA, the general manager of the Hueber report, Dan Hueber. Dan, we welcome you back to the forum, and I went through a fairly exhaustive list of what's happening across the width and breadth of American agriculture. Do these latest figures offer any surprises to you?
Again, thanks for having me on.
You bet.
Again today, and that's where. Hello.
Yes, sir. Go right
Yes,
ahead. We had a little hiccup with the Skype, but go ahead there.
All right. The numbers were really very much in line with what the trade was anticipating here today. Probably the most friendly as far as price sensitivity were actually over in the corn market, where the usage was estimated to be a little bit stronger than the trade had really been anticipating. But even that said, the market's been kind of geared up for seeing some friendly numbers overall. So it's kind of a classic, what we term as buy the rumor, sell the fact. We'd rallied up into this time period. Now that the numbers have been released, prices did tend to reverse back lower. For the consumer side of it, of course, the wheat is one of the most critical problems we have out there right now. If you go down into the Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas region, very, very dry down there. We're looking at reduced wheat stocks, as you pointed out. Of course, one of the benefits, though, we are seeing is this is really a world market, and around the world, I mean, we're kind of isolated. The wheat numbers on a worldwide basis are continuing to grow, so that should keep some of the inflationary pressures off of what we see at the domestic side of it. Of course, domestically, probably our biggest concern yet is California. The drought continues out there, so many of our fruits and vegetables, of course, dairy products, you name it, come from that state, and really not much relief in sight there. So it's there's some problems ahead. We still got a growing season ahead of us yet, but right now it would say that when you look at it on a worldwide basis, the numbers are really set to improve this year. So,
and of course, Dan, most Americans have their contact with agriculture 3 times a day at mealtime, and then shopping at the grocery stores and supermarkets. Now, we've seen grocery prices up. Do you think those prices at the retail level are going to continue to rise for shoppers and consumers?
I would say we've probably seen the majority of the rise already factored into prices. Not that we couldn't see just a little bit more inflation as we move into the early summer months, but we've already factored in the low numbers here in the cattle industry. We've been factoring in the tremendous death loss that suffered in the hog industry because of disease this year. Those are all known factors. We've, again, adjusted those prices up accordingly. So I don't see where we're going to see a tremendous rally from this point forward. Again, now that's barring some kind of a major catastrophe in the summer weather conditions that would really push up the price of feed grains going in. Right now, the weather outlook is fairly respectable. We're getting off to a little bit late start on the planting season, but nothing critical at this point in time. So, barring a real, like I say, weather hiccup here this summertime, I think we're probably near the tops of what we're going to see as far as these inflationary moves and the food price this year.
Dan, you mentioned earlier California, and what the kind of drought and some of the environmental policies that have confronted ag producers in that state. It's really kind of scary. I don't want to preach gloom and doom, but how critical is the California situation right now? We've only got about a minute left. How would you assess that right now?
Oh, I mean, certainly no improvement out there. I mean, the farmers out there are, of course, diverting the water that they have to, some of them higher price, the permanent crops, such as the nut trees and that type of thing, cutting back on alfalfa, which, of course, is a major feed for the dairy industry. So right now, I mean, nothing on the horizon said it's going to improve anytime soon out there. So it's that problem is going to take a little while to take care of itself.
Well, Dan, we appreciate the time you spend with us to analyze these figures in agriculture and what they mean for the prices for us in the supermarket. Thanks so much. We look forward to our next visit, sir. So, life on the farm, a challenge in California, in part because of Mother Nature, but also in terms of environmental regulation. You have a take on that? Why don't you tweet me your comments at Newsmax TV, #America's Forum. We're coming right back.